You might think you're tired because you didn't sleep enough. You might think your brain feels foggy because life is stressful. And maybe you tell yourself, well, I'm just getting older. This is what happens. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the real problem is happening much deeper inside your body? Not in your mood, not in your motivation, not even in your schedule. I'm talking about the tiny power plants inside your cells. They're called mitochondria, and when they start slowing down, you feel it everywhere. You wake up, but you don't feel fully awake. You drink coffee, but it only helps for a little while. You try to push through the day, but by the afternoon, your body feels like it's running on low battery. That's the part most people miss. Your energy problem may not be a laziness problem. It may be a power problem. And the good news is, your body may still know how to rebuild that power. You just have to send it the right signals. A lot of people blame age too quickly. They hit 35, 40, or 50, and when their energy drops, they just accept it. They say, this is normal now. But let's be honest. Some people sleep 8 hours and still feel drained. Some people rest all weekend and still feel heavy on Monday. Some people eat, drink coffee, take vitamins, and still feel like their body never fully turns on. So, maybe the issue is not just age. Maybe your body is not broken. Maybe it's just not getting the right signal anymore. That's a big difference. Because if you believe it's only age, you stop looking for answers. You just live tired. But if the problem is your cells not making energy the way they used to, then there's something to work with. Your body is always listening. It listens to what you eat. It listens to how you move. It listens to whether you sit all day. It listens to whether you give it real food or processed fuel. And those signals matter more than most people think. Think of your body like a city. Every cell is like a small building, and inside those buildings, you need power, lights, heat, movement, communication, repairs. That power comes from mitochondria. When they work well, you feel it. Your mind is sharper. Your muscles recover better. Your mood feels steadier. Your body doesn't crash as hard in the middle of the day. But when mitochondria slow down, everything gets harder. You can still function, of course. You can still go to work. You can still answer emails. You can still take care of your family. But it feels different. It feels like you're doing everything with half the battery. That's why this matters. Mitochondria are not some tiny science detail that only researchers should care about. They are the reason your brain can think. They are the reason your heart keeps beating. They are the reason your muscles can move. So, when your cellular power supply gets weaker, your whole life starts to feel heavier. And that's why fixing energy has to start at the cell level. After 30, a lot of people start noticing small changes. Nothing dramatic at first. You just don't bounce back the same way. You need more time to recover. Your workouts feel harder. Your mornings feel slower. And that afternoon crash hits a little harder than it used to. Most people brush it off. They say, I'm just busy, or I'm not young anymore. But inside the body, something real is happening. Your mitochondria can start working less efficiently over time. That means your cells may not produce energy as easily as they once did. And when your cells make less energy, you feel it in everyday life. Not just at the gym, you feel it when you climb stairs, when you try to focus, when you wake up tired even after sleeping, when your body feels like it needs a push just to get going. But here's the important part. This does not mean your body is finished. It means your body needs better signals. The first food is fatty fish. Things like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. Now, most people have heard that omega-3s are good for you, but that's the simple version. The deeper part is what happens inside your cells. Fatty fish contains DHA, a type of omega-3 that can become part of the membrane around your mitochondria. Think of that membrane like the wall around a power plant. If that wall is stiff and beat up, the whole system doesn't run as smoothly. DHA helps keep that membrane more flexible. That can help your mitochondria do their job better. But that's not the only reason fatty fish matters. DHA also connects to something called PGC1-alpha. You don't need to remember the name. Just remember what it does. It helps tell your body to build more mitochondria, more tiny power plants, more places for your cells to make energy. That's why fatty fish is not just a heart-healthy food. It may also support the energy system that helps you think clearly, move better, and recover faster. And for anyone who feels like their energy has been fading year after year, that matters. Because sometimes the body is not asking for another cup of coffee. Sometimes it's asking for better building materials. Here's where people get it wrong. They hear omega-3, so they buy a small fish oil capsule and think the job is done. But many of those capsules have a tiny amount of EPA and DHA. And the amount people actually take is often much lower than what's used in studies. So, the mistake is thinking a little capsule can replace real food. It might help a bit, sure, but it's not the same as eating a real serving of fatty fish, a piece of salmon, a can of sardines, some mackerel with dinner. That's food your body understands. The other mistake is eating fish once in a while and expecting a major change. Your cells need steady signals, not perfection. Not some extreme diet, just consistency. Start simple. Add fatty fish, a couple times a week. Choose real fish when you can. And don't cover it with heavy sauces or deep fry it until it becomes something else. The goal is not to make fish fancy. The goal is to give your cells the kind of fat they can actually use. The second food is pomegranate. And this one works in a very different way. Fatty fish helps support new mitochondria. But pomegranate is more about cleaning up the old damaged ones. That matters more than people realize. Because the problem is not always that your body has too few mitochondria. Sometimes the bigger problem is that the broken ones are still hanging around. Think about an old generator in a building. It's not making power well anymore, but it's still connected, still running, still leaking smoke into the room. That is kind of what damaged mitochondria can do inside your cells. They don't just stop working, they can create more stress inside the body. Pomegranate contains something called ellagic acid. When your gut bacteria break it down, it can help create a compound called urolithin A. You don't need to memorize that name, just understand the job. It helps your body clear out damaged mitochondria. That process is called mitophagy. It's like taking out the bad batteries before you put in new ones. And that's why pomegranate is powerful. It's not just adding something healthy. It may help your body clean house at the cellular level. Here's the mistake. People hear that pomegranate is good for mitochondria, so they grab a bottle of pomegranate juice from the store. But that's not always the same thing. A lot of bottled juices are processed, pasteurized, or loaded with extra sugar. So, instead of getting the real benefit, you may just be drinking a sweet red juice and hoping it does something special. The better choice is real pomegranate seeds. Simple, whole, closer to the food itself. And there's another important piece. Not everyone's gut bacteria are good at turning pomegranate compounds into the helpful stuff your body can use. So it may help to eat pomegranate seeds with fermented foods. Something like plain yogurt, kefir, or even kimchi if you like it. You don't need a complicated plan. Just don't treat juice like a shortcut. Eat the real seeds when you can. Keep the portion reasonable, and let your gut do the work. The third food is dark chocolate. And yes, I know how that sounds. It sounds like one of those things people say because they want chocolate to be healthy. But this is not about candy. This is about real dark chocolate. High cacao, low sugar, the kind that tastes a little bitter. Dark chocolate has a compound called epicatechin. That compound can turn on something inside your cells called AMPK. You do not need to remember the name. Just think of AMPK as your cell's energy alarm. When it turns on, it tells the cell, we need more energy, build better systems, and that matters for mitochondria. Because when your cells get that signal, they may start improving the way they make energy. That is why dark chocolate is interesting. Not because it gives you a sugar rush, not because it feels like a treat, but because the right kind of dark chocolate may send a real signal to your cells. A signal that says, wake up, build more power. And for someone who feels tired every afternoon, that is worth paying attention to. Here is where people mess this up. They hear dark chocolate, then they grab a sweet chocolate bar, chocolate cookies, or a mocha drink and call it healthy. That is not what we are talking about. The goal is cacao, not sugar, not cream, not candy, with a little chocolate flavor. Look for dark chocolate that is at least 70 Fun cacao. If you can handle 85 Fun, even better. And keep it small. You do not need a whole bar. A few squares in the afternoon is enough for most people. The timing matters too. Do not eat it right after a heavy meal and expect the same effect. Try it between meals, when your stomach is not packed with food. That is when it makes more sense. This should feel simple. A small piece of real dark chocolate. No drama, no dessert mindset. No "I earned this" excuse. Just a clean signal for your cells. Because once you add too much sugar, you turn a helpful food into another afternoon crash. The fourth food is leafy greens. And I know, this one sounds boring. Spinach, kale, arugula, Swiss chard. Most people hear that and think, yeah, eat more greens. But there is a reason these foods keep showing up. Leafy greens are rich in natural plant nitrates. Your body can turn those nitrates into nitric oxide, and nitric oxide helps your blood vessels open up. That means better blood flow, more oxygen moving through your body, more oxygen reaching your muscles, your brain, and your organs. And that matters because mitochondria need oxygen to make energy. If oxygen is not getting delivered well, your cells cannot run at full power. It is like having a good engine but poor fuel delivery. The engine is there, but it cannot perform the way it should. Leafy greens also bring minerals like magnesium and nutrients like folate. Those are not flashy. But your cells use them every day. So greens are not just healthy food. They help create the right environment for your mitochondria to work better. Not louder, not faster, in a fake way. Just cleaner, steadier, and more efficient. Here is the mistake with leafy greens. People cook them to death. They boil spinach until it turns soft and dull. They overcook kale until it loses that fresh color. They treat greens like something that needs to disappear into the meal. But when you overcook them, you may lose some of what makes them useful, especially the nitrates. And those nitrates are one of the reasons greens matter for blood flow and oxygen delivery. So, keep it simple. Eat some greens raw when it makes sense. Add spinach to a salad. Put arugula on eggs. Throw a handful into a bowl. If you cook them lightly. A quick steam, a fast sauté, not a long boil. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to stop destroying the food before your body gets the benefit. A small amount every day can do more than a giant bowl once in a while. That is the real trick. Steady signals. Simple food, done consistently. So, what does this look like in real life? Keep it simple. In the morning, add a handful of leafy greens to something you already eat. Spinach with eggs. Arugula in a breakfast bowl. A small side salad if that works for you. You are just starting the day with better blood flow and oxygen support. In the afternoon, when you normally reach for coffee or something sweet, try a few squares of real dark chocolate, not candy. Real dark chocolate. Around 85 Fun cacao if you can handle it. Then at dinner, bring in fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, or mackerel. Nothing complicated. Just a real serving of fish that gives your body the fats it can actually use. And later, you can have some pomegranate seeds with plain yogurt, kefir, or another fermented food. That gives your gut a better chance to do its part. That is the whole idea. Greens for blood flow, dark chocolate for the energy signal, fish for building support, pomegranate for cleanup. 4 foods. 4 different signals. 1. Stronger energy system. Here is the main point. Your body is not just getting tired for no reason, and you are not weak because you need more motivation. Sometimes, the problem is deeper than that. Sometimes your cells are not getting the right signals anymore. That is why this matters. Because if your mitochondria are struggling, you feel it everywhere. You feel it when you wake up tired. You feel it when your brain slows down in the afternoon. You feel it when your body needs longer to recover. You feel it when coffee helps for an hour, then drops you right back where you started. And that can make you think something is wrong with you. But maybe your body is not broken. Maybe it is asking for better fuel, better signals, better building materials. Fatty fish can support the building process. Pomegranate can help with the cleanup. Dark chocolate can send an energy signal. Leafy greens can support blood flow and oxygen delivery. None of this has to be extreme. You do not need a perfect diet. You do not need to change your whole life overnight. Just start with one food this week. One real change. Add greens in the morning. Try real dark chocolate in the afternoon. Eat fatty fish for dinner. Or add pomegranate seeds with something fermented. Then, pay attention. Do you feel steadier? Do you crash less? Does your mind feel a little clearer? That is how you learn what your body responds to. If this made you look at energy differently, subscribe to Hidden Organ Secrets. And tell me in the comments, which one are you going to try first this week?